on the topic of moral degeneracy and
Yeah.
Australia banning social media altogether
Yeah.
for under-16s, which I didn't realise until recently that it was under-16s and not under-13s, which is the typical social media usage policy, right? And this has been a bipartisan agreement that social media is so harmful to children that we should not give children under the age of 16 access to it whatsoever. Isn't that slightly draconian?
Draconian, yeah. Maybe. But I mean, extreme situations require extreme solutions, probably. And it might seem like an extreme solution, but I think the problem, it might be a serious problem that we're dealing with. I think there are a lot of negative impacts that social media has had on the young generation specifically.
And I mean, we were the first generation to really grow up with social media as part of
Yes.
our everyday teenage lives. Have you seen, how do you think social media has affected you?
Well, but the thing is, it's worse now because you're slightly older than me. I didn't have social media until I think late into primary school. So in my sort of
Which is still quite young from my
early teens,
perspective.
maybe year 6, so maybe 10, 11. I mean, some of these kids are growing up with social media much earlier.
Yeah.
And I mean, but my social media, this was in the early stage of the apps, right? They hadn't, refined their algorithm yet. There was a whole bunch of differences they hadn't quite optimized for retention, for outrage, for all these things that are now sort of breaking a lot of minds. The brain rot scroll feature hadn't been invented yet, luckily. Otherwise, I'd be cooked.
Definitely the severity of how algorithms work on social media has been ramped up in recent years.
Yeah.
But I think the negative impacts of social media on just like mental health, comparison, attention deficit have been known for a long time. And I think even my generation grew up with it, even though we got social media maybe in our early to late teens. Which is why this ban seems really inconceivable, because I can't think of a single teenager that isn't on social media, unless they've made a really conscious effort or have like really strict parents. And the difference with this ban is the onus is not on them or the parents, it's on the service providers and the social media providers themselves to self-regulate or get fined, right?
Well, I mean, sort of. They're banning under-16s. Yes, the government is going to stop all under-16s from using social media. This isn't solving the root cause, which is, I mean, say you're 17, 18. I mean, is this less bad for you? The root cause is, of course, these algorithms and these social media giants that are not really being held accountable. They don't feel they have any responsibility to the sort of monster they're creating. And if we do buy into the thought that this social media is bad and is doing something bad in its current form, then they should probably be held more to account. But I want to speak to why it seems so radical, because everyone uses social media. Well, clearly now, if they ban it for under-16s, I don't think after a week, a month, kids adapt quickly.
Yeah.
I don't think it will feel radical at all. And the incentive then to use social media will be gone also, because these things rely on network effects. Yeah. And if all your friends aren't on social media, even if you have the odd kid with a VPN, they're not going to have a very good time on it. They're not going to, or they're not going to really face much trouble, or they're not going to be comparing because their friends aren't on it.
I disagree with you. Maybe 10 years ago, I would have agreed with this argument that social media is like a tool for catching up with your friends, and if your friends aren't on it, it loses its appeal. But I think social media has sort of transgressed far beyond this into your main source of entertainment, media, finding out what's going on with people you follow, YouTubers. And I think people engage with social media, particularly children engage with social media to follow those people, not their friends. So I don't think the appeal of social media automatically goes away as soon as your friends aren't on it. And I think a large minority of people then we're perhaps predicting, because kids adapt to technology, they will find VPNs, they will find alternative
It's like a cat and mouse game.
Adults are never going to be able to regulate kids out of using technology. They simply can't keep up with it. I mean, even when I was 9-10 years old, my parents took away my phone at night if I was bad, and I would go on a browser on my DS. Did my parents even know I had a browser on my DS? No. It's always a game of, well, no one can watch kids strictly enough to to monitor them constantly, is it not more important to teach kids media literacy and how to avoid harms, or give them access to support if they recognize that their social media usage is a problem? Like, is it fun? Can you imagine at the age of 16 finally being exposed to social media for the first time? When I first had social media at like 12 or 13, I was on it non-stop, not social media, but just the internet, right? Because you had unfettered access to something new and novel for the first time, and it took years of using it in order to then self-regulate your own usage patterns and realize, okay, this is not so good for me. Like, recently you've deleted Instagram, right?
Yes.
Would you have done that if, Instagram was like a shiny new thing for you this year?
Maybe not, but I only joined social media when it was shiny new things, when they were polished.
Yeah.
I think maybe you have to be a bit smarter than I am to want to navigate sort of the early internet, where the user interface isn't as polished or isn't as welcoming or inviting. You have to do a bit more work to get onto various forums. You visit forums. I never did this because it wasn't fed right in front of me. It wasn't in a shiny interface.
Oh,
it looked yucky.
So this is the thing, right? I frequented some like really niche, weird forums back in the day for just internet usage, and I wasn't even on Facebook. Facebook had been around.
I would never have the courage to do that. I would feel like I'm lost in like a weird alleyway. I'd turn back.
Well, this is the thing. I was a kid that naturally opposed social media. Precisely because too many people were on it. Like, all of my classmates were using Snapchat, and at the time I was a rebellious teenager. I couldn't think of anything worse than sending a picture of myself to the boys, and it was like, I'm never going to use Snapchat. I didn't use Facebook until university, even though it had been around for 6-7 years, and that was purely to join the university clubs, because that was my gateway portal to signing up to freshers events, right? And similarly with Instagram, there was a period I didn't use it at all, and then I got so addicted to it when I did start using it, and I craved validation from likes and things, and it was only when Instagram took away the like feature and then just stopped showing me posts from my friends altogether. So then it completely lost its appeal, and now I barely use it apart from to doom scroll. So social media can cause its own, destruction sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a need for this ban, strictly speaking.
I think there was. It's a good experiment also. We'll see how it works out in Australia.
But do you not think
and maybe it will be rolled out.
But this is such a slippery slope, right? We are seeing more restrictions on how people use the internet. Well, the UK and the porn ban. Do you think the porn ban has been effective in its overall aims of whatever?
I don't know if it's been effective. But I mean, you have to remember, not all slippery slopes are bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we have a slippery slope that, first you're coming after murder, what's next? You'll be coming after manslaughter. There's... I mean, okay.
It'd be good if we kept going down that slippery slope and started going after, like, robbers and, like, phone thieves.
Yeah. Well,
so please.
Lawless London, sleep calm, please, save us. But yeah, I don't know. I personally don't... I don't agree with any of the naysayers that don't like this idea. I don't agree with the people that don't like digital ID because they think it's some sort of big government conspiracy. I mean, you can make a slippery slope argument, but I think it's just more effective to, when it comes to it, when it comes to an actual bad thing, we'll oppose it. We're not going to oppose legislation that's, good in the short term because potentially one day it will be used for. I mean, if they want to do that, they'll do it tomorrow. There's nothing stopping a government with an incredible majority, like the Labour government has, passing, crazy draconian laws tomorrow. I mean, the slippery slope won't matter at that point.
Interesting, but this is like is such black and white thinking over social media bad, right? For lots of places, especially where social media is restricted, social media good. Have we not seen Nepal's Gen Z organize a whole coup d'etat revolution via Discord? And if you suddenly started taking away like the ability for the youth to mobilize and taking away their channels of communication, you could say this is conspiracy theory now. It again puts the power in the people that.
But that was a very specific case. There was a revolution there. The reason they turned off social media for everyone, it's because the corrupt officials, the corrupt governments, nepo babies, their children, they were on social media and they were showing off all their I think one of them had a Louis Vuitton Christmas tree, and they were showing their luxurious lives that have basically been sort of embezzled from the taxpayer, and that whole corrupt system was it was being exposed, it was becoming viral on social media to talk about these nepo babies, and that was building momentum already. Then they banned social media critically at that point, and that's when people started mobilizing, coming onto the streets, and that's how it happened. I mean, there's nothing really like that in the West today, and I think a ban on
well, not for a lack of nepo babies and flexing influencers, right? We have even more of that in the West.
Well, no, but it's not the government. It's not the government doing it to protect them. It's the government, really. I mean, I think they're doing it with good intent to try and protect the kids. I mean, to be honest, who is social media not affecting in a negative way?
Right.
Not just under-16s.
Exactly.
So I mean, you can start with the kids.
So we're just
who's
gonna
probably
go
affecting more.
You think we're gonna ban all social media eventually? It's not gonna happen.
Not ban all social media, but I think it has to be regulated a bit more, and I think more pressure has to be put on the social media owners, the people who control the algorithms, to sort of, take some accountability of the world they're creating. I mean, and I think one of the reasons because they don't have to live in the world.
They don't have to live in the real world.
They don't have to live in the real world, exactly. They sort of. I don't want to sound too much like a lefty
anti-capitalist.
An anti-capitalist. I'm not, but there is a sort of new sort of international elite that sort of live in their own world.
I don't think this is contentious.
It's not contentious. The tech bros of Silicon Valley. I think they sort of live in their own world, and they don't really have to face accountability.
Yeah.
What we're seeing with the political divides, what we're seeing with the hyperpolarization. I mean, a lot of people on Twitter, especially after Charlie Kirk, we're calling for civil war. I mean, this is something that's fueled by the social media platforms. In London, we're seeing a lot of people saying that London is hell on earth. It's unsafe. You're going to get stabbed or your phone stolen every time you go out. I don't think that's true.